Hello guys, welcome back to John's Workshop, and in this video we're going to be making some T-nuts for the Atlas 7B, or the Acorn Tools as it is for me, shaper. So I'm reaching the conclusion of all of the refurb work on the shaper, and very shortly we're going to be switching this on and having a bit of a go with it. So those that have followed along with the restoration will have seen me make a folly purchase of a vise that was far too big for this machine, so we've forgotten all about that for now, and I've now purchased another vise which is on its way. Again, second-hand vise, might need a bit of work but not a lot hopefully, and it's going to be a much better fit on the shaper, but I've got nothing to hold that down to the table with, so I'm going to make some T-nuts to help us do that, so that we can, as soon as we've got the refurb complete, we can crack straight on with giving it a bit of a try out and having a bit of a play with it, which I'm very keen to do. So just see if there's anything else on the board. Yeah, free issue material, so we've got some steel stock here. I've just bandsawed that off a slightly larger piece that it came from. What sort of steel is it? It's the sort of steel that you get offered, and when you do, you smile and say thank you and get it in the back of your car pretty quick before anybody changes their mind. That's the sort of steel it is. It's off some aerospace fixturing, so it won't be plain old mild steel. It will probably be EN16 or something of that ilk, so something a bit more decent, higher carbon content in, which will be ideal for the application for T-nuts. So what we're going to do now, so firstly, before we move on, apologies, the heating's on because it's freezing, and also I'm still full of cold, so I'll try and edit out all of the coughing, sneezing and everything else that's going to be going on, so that it's not too painful to watch. I'll bring you into the shaper just shortly. The first thing we need to do is measure up the T-slots in the table and make a bit of a sketch of the sizes that we need, and then we'll crack on with the machining. Okay, we've just deburred our stock, make sure it's all clean. Just going to drop it in on a couple of parallels. And we'll clean this top face up. Okay, we've just deburred that, so we're just going to drop that back in on that face we've just machined. and we'll skim this face down. Okay, we've got our first thickness done. We're now just going to hold on what we've done there and take a light skim off one of the top faces, and then we'll whip it over and finish it to finished dimension. Okay, we've just got a finished pass to do. Some of you might say, John, you're only making rough old T-nuts. What are you using a micrometer for? Vernier would be plenty good enough for that job. And you'd be right, it would. The reason I reach for one of these is probably one reason is habit. Just used to using micrometers. Second reason is I can measure. I've got to measure it with something. I can measure that without even looking at it. I don't have to try and stick my head in here somewhere to see it. I can pull it off and take the reading nice and easy, and I can also get into a tight space up against the spindle and do the same thing to check my parallelism. If I was trying to do all of that with a vernier, yes, I could kind of do it, but I'm clattering into my hand wheel at this end at the back. I've got to try and read upside down. You can lock this with a second hand and then pull it off and take the measurement, but if you just want to do it as quick as I did with the micrometer and pull it off, the chances are that's going to have moved and you're going to get a false reading. And in this scenario at this end, it's all too tight and I can't get the vernier in. So micrometer doesn't have to be used for precise jobs. You can use it for any job. Use the right tool for the right thing at the right time to make your own life as easy as possible. So we'll just make the final cut on this face now. And no, that wasn't speeded up, I was actually winding the handle that fast. Would you believe it? That's the beauty of using solid carbide end mills for stuff that's not too hard. You can fair rip off the material quite quickly. So that's got our 2 sections done. Happy with that. We'll get this out and get it deburred, and then I'll bring you back and we'll be getting set up for putting in the T-slot features down each side of this bar. So I'll bring you back when we're doing that. Okay, I've cut the bar in half for this next operation. Not going to be good doing this hanging out of each end of the vise, and we're going to need to cut these into sections anyway. So we're just going to load this back in now. And we're just going to set up to cut the T-shop. Let's try that again. The T-slot shape into the top of the bars. And once I've got my settings on the DRO, because this has all been machined as one, I can just whip one bar out, stick the next one in, and just still work to the same settings on the DRO. Nice and easy. Well, there we go. I'm working to my numbers. That should be us on our finished sizes. I'll just whip that out of there. I'm just going to give that a quick deburr, and then we'll give it a try in the shaper table. But that should be our sizes done. If that all works out, I'll pop the other one in and do exactly the same to that one while I've got everything set. Okay, we've deburred both. We've popped it back in the vise on some parallels, removed the parallels. I've set up using my edge finder, and we're now going to spot drill and tap for the various T-nuts that we're going to get out of these lengths. I've had a quick measure up, so I'm going to get one long one out of both lengths, which I'm going to use for the vise. Then I'm going to get one medium one and 3 short ones out of each length, so that will give me some options. So we'll start drilling now. and so on. So, one of two done, rinse and repeat with number 2. I'll bring you back when we've done that. Okay, so we've got our T-nuts split out from the bars. So we've got 2 big ones for the vise, which is what I wanted, 2 sort of medium sized ones, and 4 small ones, and they all fit very nicely into the T-slots. So happy with them. Now the keen-eyed amongst you will probably notice that I drilled 5 holes in each of the bars, and I've finished up with 8 T-nuts. So what's that all about? Do we get everything right in John's workshop all the time? No, we don't. So I'm just going to take you on a bit of a culture lesson now. Okay, so up here in Scotland, we're very Scottish saying that when things don't quite go to plan, and it's arse of it, and that's what happens when you rush. You make an arse of it. I think I might have the spelling a bit wrong. So you get everything in this channel. You get culture, comedy, technical prowess. I don't know why you guys go anywhere else. Next job, we'll get these in the chemical black and I'll bring you back. There we go guys, that's got our T-nuts all complete, chemical blacked, light coat of oil on them, so they're now ready to use. So I'm happy with those. I'll bring you back to the board and we'll close this episode out. Well, there we go guys, that gets us to the end of this video. So got my T-nuts all done, happy with those. That's going to be more than enough for the shape. So even though that was a first year apprentice job, still managed to make a mess of it, and that's normally the way when it's a dead easy job that you disengage your brain and don't have to concentrate. That's when you make silly mistakes, as I demonstrated, but doesn't matter, I've got more than enough for what I need for the T-slots on the shaper. So happy with that. Hope you've enjoyed that. Nice simple one, nothing too exciting, but move the shaper on a stage further. And thank you to the subscribers and the new subscribers that have come along to the channel, and we'll catch you all very soon on another video when we'll be making something else.